What is up, Fireflower gals and Tanuki flying guys? This is the Nintendo Fever podcast. We are the podcast that will cool that fever that you have for all things Nintendo. We are a weekly show that is now on YouTube every single Friday at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I am your humble host, Matt. Joined with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Holly. Holly, how have you been this week?
Been really stressed. All I have to say is that I'm just glad it's a Friday night and the weekend is here.
Yes, I could not agree more. So here's something funny that I ran into recently is whenever I talk about what time the podcast is going to go live, and when I talk about time zones and stuff like that, I have a lot of people telling me recently that, hey, you need to say Central Time, or I need to say like Eastern Time. And I'm like, no, I am in the Mountain Standard Time, so you can like look. If I have to look up every time, I'm sure you've done this, right, Holly? Like whenever there's a Nintendo Direct and it says like 8 p.m. Standard Time, you have to look it up, right?
Yeah, and I think Mountain Time Zone is probably like the least populated in the United States. So
what?
We're the ones having to look up your time zones all the time, people.
Yeah, so every once in a while, you guys can look up our time zones. I'm going to get some like really annoyed people now at the show. Like everyone's going to be like, wow, this guy's kind of mean. We are that weekly podcast that does nothing but talk about wonderful Nintendo things. We are here to have a good time. We're here to celebrate our 100th episode, even though it took us like a really long time to get to technically because we took like a 2-year break in the middle of it all. But you know what?
Ooh, is that how long it was?
It was something like that, I'm sure, because the Switch is, well, maybe a year and a half. It took us an extra year and a half to get to this position, I guess.
Yes.
Want to say hello to Steve. He's in the chat right now. What is up, Steve? He's telling me to stop stressing Holly. Oh, let's talk about Infendo Standard Time. That's a discussion. Steve Gentis from the Infendo radio podcast on YouTube, and they have a website. I believe it's just infendo.com. Am I correct in that? I believe it is.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, they do a weekly podcast as well. They are on Wednesdays. They're kind of like our sister site. I guess more like our father site or mother site. I really don't know how this stuff works. We're related.
The mothership.
Yes, they are the mothership, exactly. Steve has always wanted to control a giant spaceship. So Steve, you got it. You are the controller of a gigantic spaceship known as Infendo. So congratulations.
Infendo.
So we like I said, this is the 100th episode basically of the podcast and stuff like that. So we thought it'd be fun to talk about our 100 favorite games, which is what we are going to be talking about. Before we get to talking about that, we're going to go ahead and talk about the normal things that we do on this show, which includes things like recent swag. Holly, do you have any recent swag to talk about?
I'm afraid I do not. I do have some digital swag that I just got, though. I caved and preloaded Super Mario Party.
Oh, you're getting Super Mario Party?
I am! Watch that Treehouse demo. It's like 10 minutes long, a Treehouse demo of the like river rafting co-op mode. It looks halfway decent.
It does.
It sold me on that game. And I have people to play with, my family and whatnot.
Yeah, I didn't hate the look of the game. I think I'm just like, it's like this bitter thing of like, I can't believe they're really wanting me to pay $60 for it. I know that they doubled, and that shows,
is true.
That shows how terrible the Switch rewards are, right? Like me, I'm pretty sure me and you, Holly, we're probably still on the same page where we think the rewards that we're getting is pretty much a lie at this point because you're getting double the gold coins if you bought this digitally like you did.
Yes.
This $60
That wasn't the reason.
That
wasn't the reason that I downloaded it, though. I was gonna get it physically, but then I realized that I wouldn't be able to get it physically on the day that it comes out because I'll be visiting my tiny little in the middle of nowhere hometown. But I'll be visiting my hometown with my family. I need this game to play with them. So I was like, I'll just preload it. That was my primary reason. Although it will be nice to have the extra coins because it is nice now that each gold coin that you get on
worth
my Nintendo, it can translate. That's $3.
You think that's a good
I can
deal?
Put $3 toward.
No, that's not a good deal.
It's not like I'm buying this game specifically for these points. Like I just have them now. It's really nice that I dollars toward an indie game and get an indie game for pretty dang cheap with all the gold points that I have now. But I do still agree that I think it's pretty crappy. Nintendo keeps offering us like discounts on games that are so old we either already have them, have forgotten about them, or we didn't get them in the first place because we just didn't want them.
Yeah. Also,
so
I think it's worth
a topic for another day.
Yeah, but I think it's also worth pointing out that they still don't have Switch rewards though too. Like we're only in a world where we can rebuy a Wii U game that we already purchased and didn't want to buy to begin with. So, yeah. So I'm a little confused still at what they're actually going to do when it comes to that. Don't make me come to the show and argue. Team Holly. Oh, get out of here.
So they're. Well, I have my beefs about it still too. They used to say that Switch rewards were coming soon on My Nintendo.
They still are.
That is what it's called.
They still
Well, that's the thing. They don't even say that on their site anymore.
Yeah, let's see. Somebody is talking right now. Starlink Battle for Atlantis, $75 plus Monster Hunter. I'm getting an email popped up over your face because anyways. No, get out of here. Email stop. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Team Holly. Okay, let's see. Kyodai just showed up. He says Starlink Battle for Atlantis, $75 plus Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, $60 plus.
We gotta play that together.
Super Mario Party equals only $100. $100.
So basically, he got all those games for $100 through his incredible network of deal-getting.
Yeah, he's
informants.
You got it. Yeah, I want in on this, Kyodai. I want in on this. You need to share your sources. You don't got to do it publicly, but we'll talk after the show because you are always getting. Didn't you get 2 Switches or 2 Wii U's like early on or something like that? I swear there was something
for like $5.
Yeah, exactly. Just a high five. He's just like, oh, thank you. Hopefully there is nothing sensitive in your email. I don't know. No, there's nothing. I have no idea. So we will save the debate or the top of gold coins and Nintendo Switch and rewards, quotations, for another day. But my goodness.
Yes.
So first and foremost, before we get into the next segment, I don't have anything to talk about for recent swag either because I was going to go buy Dragon Ball FighterZ Z, which I want so badly, this game, since it was released for the PS4 and the Xbox. I said, please have this come to the Switch and I will buy it day of. Well, I did not get it today because nowhere has it close enough to me, and I could not make the drive to my local GameStop, which is an hour away, to be able to pick it up. So I am without Dragon Ball FighterZ, and no, I'm not buying a digital because I still don't believe on digital stuff like that. I like to buy physical whenever possible, obviously. Which I should be able to.
I still have that philosophy.
Yeah, which I should still be able to. I just was not able to today. So I am Dragon Ball FighterZ Z-less. I'm super sad about that, but that would have been my recent swag. So we'll be talking about that next week for sure. But I do have a game to talk about.
The woes of living in Mountain Time Zone where everything is so spread out.
Yeah, if I lived in Central Time, I'd be fine. That's all that I needed is to be in a Central Time Zone place.
It's still the Mountain Time Zone makes you work for things, and we are hardened.
We know how to work for our video games. That's
for our Nintendo Switch games.
Okay, so Kyodai said I got my Switch for free. I knew there was something crazy that you had gotten. I thought you got a second something for free too. Steve says he'll come on for that episode, the episode where we talk about rewards and Switch gold coins. Kyodai, the Switch rewards are the gold coins. Oh man, mind blown, right? Oh, I just clicked, just realized it.
Yeah, I mean you can put them towards Switch games, so I guess that's it. How original of Nintendo though.
I know, right? I mean, they
so much creativity went into that.
Why don't we need to praise them a little bit more, Holly? I like you're becoming cynical in your older age. As you get older, you're getting just a. I feel like if we would have had this conversation on like the beginning of Nintendo Fever, you'd have been like, "No, it's wonderful. They're so kind." Drinking the Nintendo juice, basically. They're giving us
like
such a good
deal. Before I went back to college.
Yeah, you go to college and like the world's cold.
And I'm like an old lady in college now. All those younger kids just graduated high school, and I'm all like, I'm coming back after like 8 years. It's been 8 years since I graduated.
Get away from my door, you kids. Are you? I'm gonna be
exactly.
I'm gonna be old and grumpy. I'm sure one day I'm just gonna get off my yard. So before we get into our next segment, I quickly want to mention a quick thank you, obviously, to Kyodai and Steve for showing up. I would appreciate it if you guys are enjoying the content that me and Holly are putting together. It would mean the world to us if you go down there and you just do a one-up punch to that like button down there below. Make sure to share the podcast, let other people know what is going on over here, because we're doing this show for the enjoyment and entertainment of you guys, as well as my ability to talk Nintendo with somebody else for a little while. But if you guys like the show, please give us a like on that, and make sure to share the show and let other people know what's going on. Share it on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you feel the need to share. Always appreciate that, obviously. We want to have a good time, and I've been a part of shows where there's a lot of people in the chat, and it is a blast. It's just absolutely crazy and a lot of fun. So I would like to bring that kind of atmosphere here as well, hopefully. So let's go ahead and talk about what else has been going on, which is, what have we been playing? Holly, I have a game that I would like to talk about for this. Do you have a game that you have also been playing?
Yes, one that I can talk about somewhat briefly, so we can get to our feature quickly.
Oh yes, I know. Yeah. I've already wasted all the time. All the time's been wasted because of me. Let's have you go ahead and talk about your game first, then.
Well, I finally was able to begin Dragalia Lost, that mobile game that just came out.
I have it downloaded.
Yeah.
I have it downloaded. I don't know when I'll start it.
That's the big question when you're a busy adult in the adult world.
Yeah, too busy adulting. Uh-oh, we're getting a little bit of a slowdown.
I can tell it's
from
kind of set up in a chapter business.
We're getting just a little bit of lag and slowdown from you, Holly. Maybe let's let it catch up. Okay, it looks like you're good now. You're good now, I think. We passed the stormy weather.
Okay. So Dragalia Lost seems to be, I'm only through the prologue, but it seems to be set up in like a chapter-based kind of thing. It is an action RPG for mobile. You're basically using the touch screen to move your character around an environment. It's kind of, I guess, isometric a little bit. It's not like fully 3D fleshed out or anything like that, but it is top-down kind of isometric view of your character. You're using the screen to move them along, and you tap the touchscreen to attack enemies. It's pretty basic. And then, you know, even in the prologue, there are a couple of little special type attacks and moves and things that you learn, and little buttons for those show up, and so you use those. So it's pretty, like, I'd call it kind of generic, standard action RPG fare. So
yeah, that's,
I mean, I'm only through the prologue. It's very story heavy too. There's actually some fully voiced little cutscenes in there, so that's nice as well. And I'm enjoying those well enough so far. But again, it's all pretty, you know, pretty standard generic stuff so far. I'm excited to kind of get going further and to figure out what the multiplayer mode is all about, because it's a multiplayer game apparently. So we'll see how that goes when I get to that point.
Yeah, there's supposed to be some sort of massively multiplayer online type of thing going on in it too, from what I remember. It looks fun. It does not look like something that I'm going to spend a lot of time in. Every time I try to spend time playing a mobile game, I always stop doing it like pretty early on for the most part, which is kind of weird. But like, honestly, I don't know, like even Clash of Clans, I recently got back into that, and then I've already fallen back out of it for the most part. And I was having a good time. It's just difficult to, honestly, as hard, as weird as this might sound, it is more difficult for me to play games in short bursts than it is for me to sit down and long play a game for you know, less sessions. I would rather play longer sessions less times than play more sessions shorter times. That makes sense?
It's weird, but it is true. It's true for me too. I'm like, I feel like if I want to play a video game, I want to like sit down for the long haul and just enjoy an evening of playing something really hardcore like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Mm-hmm. I've also been playing Torna, the Golden Country, but I mean, there are people who've already beaten that expansion so far and played, you know, a few dozen hours of it, and I'm like, I'm still only a few hours in, so I will refrain from talking about that one just yet.
Understandable. So, the game that I've been playing, I'm the same way, Matt. Very hard to stay with a mobile game. That's what Steve just said, actually. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense personally. So, the game that I want to talk about very briefly, because I agree we need to get to our main topic of the show. Well, there's two games that I want to talk about, but I'm not going to talk about one of them. I just want to ask you a question because I didn't know if you had got it or not. Did you get Morphe's Law, or did you not, or did you line up passing on that?
I did not end up getting that one yet.
I was just curious if that might be a game that would totally be worth waiting for a sale, because I could see them doing a sale like at the beginning of either, sometime this month or next month, especially with the holidays coming up and stuff like that. $20 I think is worth the price of admission, but I think it would be a much more satisfying buy at a slightly reduced cost. I would love for you to get it though.
What's the community like right now? Has it declined or anything like that?
It has declined. It has definitely declined already quite a bit. There is going to be a Steam version, and I'm really, really hoping that the PC players really pick up on this, because if they do, we get crossplay, hopefully, and that would really help out, because I really like this game a lot. It is a lot like Splatoon. It's a lot like Splatoon mixed with something like either Paladins, which I don't know if you played or not, or Overwatch, which I don't know if you played or not, but like it has a lot of creativity to it. It has a lot of things that I really like in it, but I want to spend more time talking to you once you are able to actually play it, basically. So I don't want to spend too much more time talking right now. The game that I actually want to talk about is this game right here. I have my Switch right in front of me because I didn't have time to get it set up like I wanted to, but it's not a big deal. Risk of Rain. This game right here. A long time ago, I remember having conversations about games that we wish would come to the Wii U, and I remember telling you that, like, the Wii U is going to be like a PC indie haven of video games and stuff like that. Risk of Rain is one of those games that I so badly wanted to come to the Wii U, and they didn't even announce that Risk of Rain was coming to the Switch until the day it launched on it, and it literally blew my mind.
Pretty typical.
Yeah, especially recently, it seams like. But when it came out, I went and bought it right away. I love this game. It's a roguelike game. It has a really cool pixel art style. It's one of those games where you play for as long as you possibly can, and you get further and further and further. It's one of those games where it has a very light story, and then once you beat it, you can keep going back and play it more and more and more. And it just has this like really. I remember talking about a long time ago. The reason why I love Castlevania games on like the DS and the Game Boy Advance was it's like the junk food of gaming. And that's what this game feels like. Like, I know I talked about, like...
That doesn't sound like a compliment, I'm afraid.
It really is. You've never just, like... You've never, like, ate a chip, right? Like a potato chip. And then been like, I have to eat another potato chip. Like, you can't stop.
I'm thinking of, like, goldfish. I have a weird thing for goldfish.
That's what this game is, the goldfish of gaming. It really is, because you get that wonderful. I love games where it like shows you the hit points that you do to somebody else, and then they explode, and you get experience points, and you go and pick up the gold pieces, and then you get items and stuff like that. Absolutely.
You should try playing an RPG one of these days.
I do occasionally. Not all of them have that awesome stuff. Have a good show, guys. Going to spend some time with my wife. Goodbye, Steve Gentis. Thank you so much for showing up for a little while. We appreciate it. He says we'll catch up on iTunes. I hope we have the ability to upload on iTunes. Anyways, so
this week, hopefully.
Okay, very cool.
Fingers crossed.
So just to end my tangent very quickly on Risk of Rain, because I absolutely love it. I don't know if Kyodai is still here or not, if he played it, if he's heard of it, if he has any idea if he would ever want to purchase it or get it. Also, Steve, I don't know if you're still here, but if you've played it or not, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it as well. But it is such a fun game. It's one of those games where you will play and then you have to play another round of it. Like, I've died in a half hour playing the game before, and like literally immediately started another game without even realizing how long I had spent, and then played another half hour, and then I spent an hour on this game when it's like, oh man, it is midnight. I need to go to bed. I was only going to play for a little while, and that was a lie that I told myself.
Well, that's typical roguelike appeal.
Yes,
I suppose that's kind of the idea of a roguelike, is that you just want to try again and see how far you get this time. I've heard that Dead Cells is a great recent roguelike that just came out.
It looks really good. I don't know what's stopping me from buying it, but it is a game that looks like it would be a lot of fun to play. I don't know what's stopping me. I guess my wallet, probably.
Just wallet, time,
Okay, so
things.
I have not played it, but it sounds fun. I think it's pretty cool, Kyodai. I would recommend. men picking it up. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I got a question for the chat now, if you guys don't mind, whoever is available in the chat. Games that you would like to add to our list. So me and Holly are going to talk about 100 amazing games. 100 games! For
not necessarily our all-time favorites. Like, this is not like a definitive list.
It's mine.
Because that's a lot of games.
Mine.
We were just writing them down, I feel like. So
we were.
At least I was.
We were totally just writing stuff down because
but carry on with your maniacal evil laugh. I was kind of enjoying that.
Yeah, so the question for the chat is, what games would you like to add to our list? I want to hear you guys shout out games. Let us go through our list very quickly so we make sure not to re-add games that are already on the list. We separated it by platform, or not platform, by genre. By the first one we're going to talk about is platformers. That's why I said platform.
Blind Hostility requested that we go by basically release date. Like, so we start with the NES and carry on. But most people voted for genre. So there were some other votes on this tweet that I did. This tweet that was a poll. There were some other votes for some other methods, like just list them randomly, just list them by series. And so they are somewhat listed in all of those ways, but primarily by genre.
Yeah, they're listed more only on Nintendo systems. Yeah, this is the 100 greatest Nintendo games as chosen by Holly and Matt, basically, and Kyodai. Kyodai is our listener through and through. So Kyodai, you are now a part of this list as well. So Kyodai, Matt, and Holly, we're gonna discuss the 100 greatest games, but. Let's get into it, Holly, because we're going to be talking about this forever if we don't just start right now.
All right. Well, let's start with like action platforming-ish games. We'll get through this category and then see if Kyodai has any that he would like to add somewhat in this genre. So, action platform games. Let's do this, Matt. Starting with Bionic Commando.
Kirby's Adventure.
DuckTales.
Mega Man.
NES.
Mega Man 2.
You've got 3 in a row.
We didn't talk about this. Okay. Super Mario Brothers 3. Blaster Master.
Gargoyle's Quest.
Metroid for the original NES.
Donkey Kong Country 2.
Ninja Gaiden.
Nice. Metroid Zero Mission, GBA.
Castlevania, any of the games on the DS. I know that's kind of cheating. Sorry.
Fair enough. Super Mario Galaxy.
Tez Legrand, which is amazing. We will talk more.
Kirby Planet Robobot.
Greatest game of all time. Super Mario World.
Shovel Knight.
Kirby Canvas Curse.
And finally, Stealth Inc. 2, a game of clones.
Oh my gosh, Holly, those
are some of our favorite action platformy type games. Metroidvanias, the whole thing.
Wow, that's an impressive list. I'm not gonna lie, like that list right there has me wanting
every single game that we listed. It just felt like there was gravity to it,
Yes, absolutely fantastic games are available on all. I had forgotten about Gargoyle's Quest, which I feel bad about because Factor had recommended that we do that game for one of our Nintendo Fever Game of the Month clubs. Wasn't it him?
Yes, it was. It's like one of his, if not his, favorite game.
Yes,
and I loved it.
Yes.
So good.
It really is fantastic, and one of the games that I want to talk about.
It's a Game Boy game.
One of the games that I want to talk about very briefly is Tez Legrand, because it is available on the Switch as well. It's available on tons of platforms.
Yes.
The place that I played it was on the Wii U and fell in love with it and absolutely adored. This is one of my all-time favorite indie games of all time. Like the storytelling and the way that the gameplay functions is just absolutely utterly fantastic. Like absolutely love it. So if you have not played it on the Wii U, which I'm sure you could probably get for a cheaper price, that's fine. But if you have a Switch, you owe it to yourself to get this game. I mean it. It is a fantastic experience. So that I wanted to talk about very briefly. Is there a game very briefly you want to talk about as well, Holly?
I've already talked a little bit about Gargoyle's Quest. Super Mario. So the one that like there was almost this like spiritual like connection, I guess, as I read Super Mario Galaxy. I just love that game a ton. And I would love, I mean, everyone's always like clamoring for Super Mario Galaxy 3. And I've never been one to, I don't know,
Odyssey kind
to
of
be on
is.
that bandwagon. But suddenly I'm like, well, I don't know. I didn't like Odyssey that much. The 10 hours that I played of it. Oh, I know, sacrilege. If anyone else is in the chat and really wants to say something about that, do it now. Speak now or forever hold your peace, because we can add that to the list if you would like.
I want to add it to the list. Can I add it to the list? I here's the thing: is we were adding games so quickly to the list that I don't think I realized what games I wasn't adding or wasn't naming at a given time. So this list is going to be ever growing until it hits that number one, that 100 spot. And to the point where we can then trim it and add and take away. This could be like the wall of games. Kyodai did say Goof Troop on the Super Nintendo. I never played Goof Troop. I take your word for it, Kyodai. Anybody that knows how to get a Switch for free obviously knows what a good game is as well. So I think we can trust him.
All right, so that's 2 games added to our list.
Yes, awesome.
Super Mario Odyssey.
Let's go ahead and jump into our next.
Snoop Troop.
No, Goof Troop.
Goof Troop.
Yeah, Goof Troop.
For once, you're the one correcting me. That never happens.
Snoop Troop is a completely different game. It's about a rapper, and I don't think it's E for everyone. Let's put it that way.
It is. That is an actual game, huh?
No,
wow.
Holly, that was a joke. That was a joke.
Oh. Hey, I don't know every game that ever exists.
Let's move on to our next category. This is action adventure / action RPG.
RPGs.
This might be my favorite list of games in this section, honestly. Very, very might be, honestly. So go ahead. Let's go ahead and kick it off.
All right. So we're going to start with a big one here. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
No More Heroes.
The Last Story.
The Legend of Zelda for the NES.
The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
Killer 7 for the GameCube.
Kingdom Hearts 3D: Dream Drop Distance.
Spider-Man 2 for the GameCube. Or the DS. Very good port.
And the next 2 are for you.
Even
though, okay, I had these both on my list,
I didn't realize that. My apologies. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, most underrated Twilight or Zelda game.
Oh, we're going to talk about that. Luigi's Mansion: Dark Moon.
We'll talk about that. X-Men Legends 1 or 2 for the GameCube.
And finally, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate.
Boy, oh boy, this is a really fun. Honestly, like the reason why, and I said that like this might be like one of my favorite categories of games and all the games that are in it, is because this was one of those times where like a lot of these games are things about my gaming, persona that I think really kind of opened up. Things like No More Heroes that I absolutely adored and loved. The very first time I played The Legend of Zelda, which was actually on my 3DS instead of playing it on an actual NES. Killer 7, Spider-Man 2, Twilight Princess, revisiting it again on the HD version for the Wii U. X-Men Legends, like those games had such big impacts on me personally as like a gamer and stuff. That's why this, I think, is just absolutely a fantastic segment of it. What is up, Blind Hostility? Very nice to see you showing up. We're talking about our top 100 games list. You missed the very first section, which was actually the platformers, the action platformers. We just talked about our action adventure action game RPGs. And if you have a game that you'd like to add to the list, please let us know. Kyodai just said Etrian Odyssey on 3DS or the DS. And Etrian Odyssey are very good games that I do like to play, and they are RPGs. So occasionally I play RPGs, and I just spoke a whole lot. So Holly, what's up?
Well, just to let you know, Kyodai, we do have another category for more traditional RPGs. And I think that's where Etrian Odyssey would probably fit. I'm gonna add it to the list anyway, or I'm not adding them. I'm just adding up the numbers. And the original Xenoblade Chronicles is on there. Blind Hostility wants us to add Crash Bandicoot to our list of action platformers.
I mean, technically we could now that it's on this. Ew! No, we can't do that. No. Org Battle 64.
That was a weird way.
Or Org Battle 64.
Org.
Org. You say ogre? It's org.
He spelled it org.
Yeah, org.
Is that It's not actually ogre, it's org.
I don't know. That looks like org to me.
Well, that's how it's spelled, but I always thought that that game was called Ogre Battle.
Well, I mean, we have this wonderful thing called the internet that allows us to check on. I am seeing org battle.
Will you do that while I update the list?
I see OGRE Battle 64. That is what it looks like to me on everything that I'm seeing pulled up right now. You've been lying to yourself your whole life, Holly.
Wow. It's kind of like Bob-omb, that character in Mario, that enemy. I always thought it was Bomb-omb.
Bomb-omb?
Bomb-omb.
Bob-omb.
Bob-omb.
I've never...
But I always thought it was Bomb-omb.
Org. Or I don't think that's a good phonic way to say it, not gonna lie. Okay, so let's
are we gonna add either of those to our list?
I think
Ogre Battle
yeah.
and or Etrian Odyssey.
Ogre Battle,
Xenoblade Chronicles is already accounted for.
Yeah, Ogre Battle can definitely be added to it, I believe. Crash Bandicoot, I don't think that there's a good game in the series, so we can't do that. No, we can't.
Okay, well, our count is up to 81 then.
Ooh, nice.
And that's not what we've listed already. That's just because we have more to list, and I've already counted those. So
I apologize, Holly. We should put 007 in the category above us, just so you know. But we'll change that later. But let's go ahead and move on. We're going to talk about our next category of games. The next genre that we're going to speak about is RPGs, role-playing games, games in which you take on the role of somebody else and you play games doing that role. Yeah, that's what it means. So let's go ahead and start this list off.
I don't get it. Oh, wait, that 007 game for the Game Boy, that's the one that you're talking about that was supposed to be an action RPG?
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll do that later.
Well, I added it to the 81. The 81 actually includes that, so.
Okay, good.
Hang on, it's here.
Yeah, we need to
it's
add
at the bottom of the RPG.
I know, it needs to be on the category above this, is what I'm saying. It needs to be on the action RPG. Yeah.
Okay, let's just go for it. All right, we're talking RPGs now, so this is like my category, kinda, as far as Matt and I are concerned. I'm not like the most hardcore RPG fan ever, but I think I'm a little bit more so compared to Matt.
That's what people think of you.
So, talking about more traditional, typically turn-based RPGs, we have Octopath Traveler,
Super Mario RPG,
Paper Mario, another one that kind of came from that line of Mario RPGs, and Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. Better get a Switch port.
Mario and Luigi. We should talk about this as a series one day.
Yeah, someday. Pokemon Fire Red / Leaf Green, same thing. And also Pokemon X and Y.
And I gotta add
2 of my favorites.
I gotta add Pokemon Gold and Silver.
Gold and Silver. Xenoblade Chronicles is here, as well as Child of Light.
And 007 for the Game Boy, which should technically be an action RPG. Blind Hostility, I feel like you are a man of great taste. Kyodai, I'm not saying anything negative about you. I apologize if you took it like that. But I want to know if either of you guys, or either of you have played 007 for the Game Boy. Because if you have not, recommendation right here. Right here, recommendation to you guys. What do we want to talk about?
I certainly haven't played it.
What do we want to talk about from this list? I mean, Mario and Luigi games are fantastic RPGs. They really are. And I mean, Mario.
Well,
Luigi,
I actually never got to go back and talk about Twilight Princess, which is funny because I did have Twilight Princess on my list. I chose that one over Skyward Sword because I have such fond memories of Twilight Princess personally. Mm-hmm. But honestly, as far as Zelda games go, I actually kind of think it's kind of uninspired and uncreative. It's a good, solid game. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
It's a good, solid game. It's like with a Wind Waker. It's kind of just an Ocarina of Time clone, you know? Most 3D Zelda games have just been clones of Ocarina of Time.
Hold on a second. I'm confused now. I thought me and you were both like on the Twilight Princess bandwagon where we agreed that it's like an underrated game and absolutely fantastic. Are we not on this?
Oh, I think it's we are not. I think it's highly overrated. In fact, I love it. Every Zelda game is just solid as heck, including Twilight Princess. But I do think it gets a little too much idol worship from people.
I'm like,
calm down, everybody.
Breath of the Wild, greatest Legend of Zelda game ever. Greatest.
Yes, that I would agree with.
followed by Zelda on the NES, followed up by
Interesting.
Twilight Princess, followed by
Ocarina of Time.
Wind Waker, followed by...
These are all clones of Ocarina of Time.
And
It's still a great game.
Ocarina of Time is the last
And
one.
We cannot agree on that, that's for sure.
It's-
Ocarina of Time defined 3D action adventure games, and to me it still holds up. That could just be nostalgia talking, but
Look in the chat. Look in the chat right now. Speak the truth, Blind Hostility. Speak the truth. The truth.
Blind Hostility says, "Oof, Holly, say what? It's way underrated."
Yes,
Twilight Princess. No, it's not.
Is
It's
there-
idol worshipped far beyond what it deserves.
Is there a game that we want to talk about in the RPG section?
RPGs. I just want to say that Xenoblade Chronicles, like, the more time that goes by, the more I am kind of solid in my opinion, or at least my personal preference, that Xenoblade Chronicles is my favorite RPG. Like, it's crazy saying something is like definitively your favorite of something, but I just love Xenoblade Chronicles
So let me ask
way
you this.
more than I should.
Why do you classify Xenoblade Chronicles, a little bit of behind the scenes stuff? Holly's one that actually organized the list, and I'm not taking. I appreciate all the work that you did, but why is Xenoblade Chronicles a more traditional RPG and not under the action RPG moniker? Is there any particular reason?
It's not super action oriented. It is kind of a real-time battle system, but it's got like turn-based elements in a way, in that you have to kind of wait for your attacks to reload and whatnot.
And I mean,
So it's not super actiony.
yeah. And I will say that I feel like I've heard far more often that it's referred to as a more traditional style RPG than it is a modern RPG. Like, I feel like that was a huge piece of conversation when it came out for the Wii, is that this is a return to RPGs. This is, they weren't talking about it being different or more modern in comparison to a lot of stuff. They were saying like this RPG feels like a classic RPG is what I remember hearing a lot of personally.
That's interesting, because what I heard was that it actually was a really fresh take on JRPGs specifically. Like, they're just getting really samey, JRPGs.
I feel like I heard the opposite on game trailers from back in the day. Anybody remember game trailers? Wow.
I do, and I have a friend who does and has some fond memories of that.
Let's have a moment of silence for game trailers. Okay, let's move
Sure.
on to our games. We're gonna move on to the next category genre. It's gonna be sports. Oh, do you guys want to add a game to the RPG section? Like we said, I mean, this is filled with obviously blockbuster games and stuff, and I know there's some other RPGs that I can't think of off the top of my head for whatever reason that I want to add to this section, but for some reason I can't think of a game. I know I'm forgetting something. I don't know what that is at this exact moment, but I know that I'm forgetting a game that I absolutely like. I mean, what about do we have an RTS section? Strategy.
We don't, but we do have like a strategy section. Puzzles and strategy I kind of clumped together.
We'll add a game there once we get to that section. XCX on Switch, sign me up. Let's see.
That's what I said.
Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on. It doesn't look like it. Oh, Earthbound, Earthbound. How did I forget that? I totally forgot that.
That was okay. That was like, okay, we're adding that.
Yes, we are.
Earthbound is officially added
Yes.
to our list. And we're bringing that up to 83. I hope that's accurate.
Earthbound is a great game. Dragon Warrior, I remember playing that game. I do not want to speak on if it was good or not, just because I do not personally remember, but I would be totally fine. I trust Blind Hostility. I don't know. Do we trust Blind Hostility? He's a Crash fan. Do we trust him on this? Yeah, we trust him on this. We trust him.
That's a good question. We're bringing that up to 84. Dragon Warrior. I played Dragon Warrior.
Yeah, I'm just.
It's
kidding.
okay.
I'm just kidding. Let's move on to our next category of games. This is sports/racing games. I feel like I was gonna have like way more games in this section than I actually do, And me and you, I mean, just
Yeah, me too.
I was really light on my sports games, I guess, for some reason. Let's go ahead and start with myself on this section, and I want to start it out with Punch Out.
All right, moving on. We have 1080 snowboarding,
Tecmo Bowl football,
Mario Kart 64,
Excite Bike,
and Truck. That one wasn't bad. Wave Race 64.
Fire Pro Wrestling for the Game Boy Advance. Perfect.
Crazy Taxi on GameCube.
Tony Hawk's Underground, because they say the word Idaho in it.
That is the reason.
I mean, it's a good game. It's a good game too, but they say Idaho.
And finally, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Ooh, boy. There's some other games in this section that I need to... I can't remember the exact name of them, but if you guys have a game that you'd like us to add to the list, please let us know. Sports/racing games. I'll tell you this, Holly. I've been playing a lot of Tecmo Bowl, and that's what made me add it to this list. Oh, Super Mario Strikers, by the way. That's a great one that we need to add. I agree completely with that. Super Mario Strikers. But I've been playing a ton of Tecmo Bowl. And it is a fantastic football game. Like, it legitimately is like a really, really good take, especially for the NES, right? The NES is primitive.
NES.
The NES is primitive, right? The NES is simple. All these things are kind of thought and said about it.
It's not either of those things. It's retro.
Hold on, Holly. Hold on. Okay, jeez, let me get my point out. Jeez. It's primitive. It's primitive and it's simple. And it has 2 buttons, okay? It has 2 buttons on there. And the things that it's able to do with those 2 buttons
and
at
D-pad.
Times,
I mean, some might consider that a button.
And a D-pad. The things
Go on.
The things that it's able to do with a simple control scheme, the things that it's able to do, honestly, at times feel better than a Madden game today. Like, all it makes me want so badly on the Switch is Madden, the new representation of a football game, to come to this platform, because if something as wonderful as the NES version of football can be so good, I just really, really wish that we had a updated version of it. But it really is just absolutely fantastic in my opinion. So we have a lot of games we need to add for this section, and I completely agree with each one of them so far. Super Mario Strikers, I think you already did. F-Zero, I don't know how we didn't have an F-Zero game. Diddy Kong Racing, once again, fantastic. And I want to ask if we can add a game. I'm gonna turn to the chat and to you. What do you think about adding Speed Racer for the Wii?
I don't even know what that is.
Well, we got to add it now.
Hopefully, Kyotai and or Blind Hostility know.
It's a racing, okay, a racing fighting game.
Oh, weird.
It is.
I was gonna say okay, but I couldn't repress that. Weird.
Mario Golf, Super Mario Baseball, Mario Golf. I think we can add. I don't think we need to add Super Mario Baseball. Are we cool not to add Super Mario Baseball?
I don't know. We are, just for the listeners' awareness, we are kind of running out of numbers here. So if we added,
not Mario.
What was that one that you said that we should add?
Super Speed Racer.
Okay.
Oh, and Kyotai just said that was amazing. See, I think he's
okay. We're adding it.
Sleeper Hit.
And then what was the other one?
Mario Golf.
I'll have to try it. Mario Golf. All right, that brings us up to 89.
Okay, let's move on.
So we could add 11 more games to the list.
Okay, let's jump to our.
We've got already.
I just realized a game that I forgot that we're gonna have to add to this section right here. Okay, let's jump into it. This is puzzle and strategy. We're running out of time. Let's get into this puzzle and strategy. Holly, go.
All right, Little King's Story.
Tetris for the NES or any other platform ever made, even your brain.
Fire Emblem Fates Birthright and Fire Emblem Echoes. My choices for the Fire Emblem series.
Dr. Mario. My daughter beat me the other night on that.
Good for her. Pikmin 3.
Kingdom New Lands for the Nintendo Switch. Really cool game.
And Pushmo.
Okay, I have 2 games I have 1 game for sure we have to add because it's one of my personal favorite games of all time. It's Rebel Star. Let me look up the exact name of it real fast. It's Rebel Star something Tactics. It's for the Game Boy Advance. I know that. Oh, it's Rebel Star Technical Command. Yeah.
Tactical.
Tactical Command. Yeah, it has a picture of an
Is
alien
this a
on it.
Star Wars one?
No, no, no. This is
No?
like
Okay.
man, what is that? What is that alien game that's a real-time strategy game that everybody loves? Oh man, XCOM. This is basically XCOM for the Game Boy Advance. And it is absolutely
Wow.
amazing. I've talked about this on the show many times. This game is one of my all-time absolute favorite games. When I found it, every time I find it at a pawn shop, I have to buy it. It doesn't matter how many copies I own of it. I will buy every known copy of this game ever made. It is an amazing. It's my favorite RTS game of all time, like bar none.
Wow. Okay, yeah, I think you've talked about it before. Now I'm actually getting vague memories of you talking about it.
Okay. Dr. Mario, somebody said we already said that one. Oh, Metros. It's that rock one. Remember the rocks fall and you have to line them up? Meteos, yeah.
How did I... Oh, I missed that one. It was on your list already and everything.
I already said it. She just doesn't like it, guys. She just doesn't like it. Oh, Zack and Wiki.
Am I like zoning out or something?
No. Zack and Wiki. How did we not add that? That's a great one as well.
I've heard it's great. That's another kind of disclaimer for at least my picks on this list is that I only meet what?
You never played Zack
No,
and
I
Wiki?
didn't.
Wow, that's
No,
surprising.
I'm really sad about it. I know that it's one that I should have played, but I didn't. So yeah, my picks on this list personally are ones that I've played at least, somewhat significantly so that I can have an opinion about them.
Yeah.
So I know we're probably missing a lot just because I haven't played every game that's good. Earthbound, I've never played it. I mean, I played it for like 30 minutes when I first downloaded it on Wii U. But...
Oh, Holly, you got to play Earthbound. Holly,
yeah, lots of good ones that we're missing.
Do you still have a Wii hooked up like in a reasonably easy to play area?
Yeah. Got my Wii U set up.
Oh yeah, I guess Wii U. So I am going to look through my games. I think I still have my copy of Zack and Wiki. I gotta get that game to you, Holly. That will be my gift to you because you will love Zack and Wiki. It's an amazing game. It really is.
If you feel that strongly about it, send it my way.
I will have to. Yes, Zack and Wiki we added. Do we have any Pikmin games?
Pikmin 3 I added on there already. It's the only Pikmin I've played, but man, I just loved it. It was so good.
I've always heard good things about that. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our next bit of games. I know there's a lot. Oh, you forgot Zookeeper, Holly. You forgot the greatest
another one
puzzle game of all time for the DS. Zookeeper. Please, Kyodai, Blind Hostility, bring me great joy right now and tell me that you have played Zookeeper for the original DS. It would bring me...
I looked it up on Amazon and it had like a 3.5 star...
Lies.
Like overall rating.
It's Puzzle League. Do you remember Puzzle League where you matched them up on the side and stuff like that?
I played a little bit of Pokemon Puzzle League. Just a little, though. Just like 10 minutes.
So Zookeeper, funny story real quick. Zookeeper doesn't enable the sleep function on the DS because it was some sort of technical error from the developers. So if you close it, it continues to run in the background and will drain your battery. I did not know that one time, and I got really, really far in a match on Zookeeper, and I closed it. I was like, oh, I'm going to come back later and play this. Opened it up, and it was dead, and I lost everything.
Oh,
okay.
Well, no wonder it's on your list. You just have strong feelings about it, even if they're bad.
They're Holly is so cynical now that she's gone back to college. It's absolute savage. My goodness.
Taste your own medicine there.
Okay, so we're going to move on to our shooter category. Holly, go ahead.
Interesting. I'm just reading the chat. So Kyodai knows exactly what Zookeeper is.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't say much else about it.
Because he loved it, okay? He doesn't have to. Back me up, Kyodai.
Okay. So talking about shooters, Metroid Prime. I used the point controls with the Wii on that one. Loved it.
Do you have a favorite out of the three?
I didn't actually play all three of them. I played like 10 hours or so of Metroid Prime 2, but I couldn't get much further. I should have just skipped to 3. But the first Metroid Prime, because I believe in following the rules and only having one game in, within each list item.
3 is just my favorite. Gradius is mine for NES.
Kid Icarus Uprising.
Graceful explosion machine. Woo, so good.
A real gem of a game. my pun really that bad?
It was
And
great.
finally, we cannot leave
It was
out
great.
Splatoon 2.
Splatoon 2.
Because it is a better version of Nintendo's it used to be new IP that is just really good.
It is. I agree.
Splatoon is solid, man. Very solid.
It's more than solid. Like, it literally is like one of those absolute trends. You know, it's a game that when it first comes out, you don't exactly know how well it's going to do. You know that you're going to enjoy it. I know I'm going to enjoy it, stuff like that. But it blew up, and it really took like a very large amount of people and said like, wow, this is a really fun game. The mechanics are fun. It's quick. It's easy to pick up. You can understand it immediately. It brings this whole new dynamic to playing a, you know, quote unquote team-based shooter. Like, as much as I love things like Team Deathmatch and Capture the Flag and those kinds of game modes and stuff like that, just painting the floor is something so rewarding, and seeing that, seeing it on the ground and I don't know, there's something really, really cool about it, obviously. So
yeah, that really thick, messy ink, I just love it.
Yes. Somebody said Time Splitters 2. They said Time Splitters, but I've only played Time Splitters 2. But Time Splitters 2 is a fantastic game, and we should add that one. That is for the GameCube. That is for the GameCube.
And GameCube. And 007, GoldenEye 007. We're adding that one as well. We can't not add that one.
Well, honestly, if we just put 007, like, to be completely honest, like, 007 had some amazing games on both the game, you know, obviously GoldenEye, but then, like, there were some really good 007 games for the GameCube, and the multiplayer modes in those 007 games, like, I can't remember all of them, obviously, but there was one game mode, there was one multiplayer in one of the 007 games for the GameCube that I can legitimately, like, remember playing from, like, 8 o'clock at night to, like, 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, it was so much fun.
Wow.
I just can't remember the name of it. Blind Hostility says yes, Matt. So do you remember which one was it? The World Ends with You? I don't know. I don't know if it was based on a movie or just had its own weird name. I don't remember. We're running out of time though, so let's jump to our next section. Fighting, beat 'em up, hack and slash, and this is all me basically. So let's go ahead and jump into it. First game is River City Ransom, which could also technically be an RPG. Mad World, which is a really cool game if you give it the time it deserves.
Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Red Steel 2, the most underrated game on the Wii, I'm going to say right now. Mark of the Wolves, which is a fantastic fighting game that is one of the reasons I'm so happy the Neo Geo games got made. Dragon Ball, you put Fighter Z. I actually was referring to many of the different Dragon Ball Z games that came out.
Well, that's the
for
thing. You're completely shattering all of our rules here. So I had no idea what you're talking about.
The DS. If I was to pick one as of right now without playing Dragon Ball Fighter Z, I would say Dragon Ball Z for the DS. There's a fantastic fighting game on there. It's Supersonic Warriors 2 is the name of it, and it is really good. And then finally,
that's the one.
That's
you can only pick one.
That is the one. That is the one. And then I don't know whose game this is supposed to be. You put Brawl. Are we going Brawl over the Wii U game?
You put Super Smash Bros. Wii.
Oh, I meant.
So I thought, oh, Brawl. He likes Brawl. That's weird.
I'm sure I meant Brawl. Maybe I don't know which one I meant exactly, but obviously you can't go wrong.
Smash Bros. For Wii U.
Smash Bros. For Wii U.
Dumbest name ever.
It's a great game though.
Not that one either. What the heck game were you talking about then?
No, I'm agreeing with you. It is a weird name, but it's a really good game is all I was trying to say. Soul Calibur 2.
Okay, that one's on the list then.
Okay, Soul Calibur 2, I agree with that completely. Blind Hostility says Manhunt on the Wii was the most underrated game. I disagree. I think it had a lot of hype. I think that it turned out to be an average game at most. Red Steel 2 was a game that they tried to hype up because it was a really, really, really good game, and it was, if you've ever played Red Steel 2, like, you instantly know why the idea of Motion Plus was invented. There's nothing more satisfying than shooting a bad guy in his knee, watching him fall to that knee, and then running up to him, and then using your katana to knock him out. Like, there's nothing more gratifying. I want to hook it up right now and play it. It's such a fun time. Manhunt 2 was just to try to stir up controversy and things like that, in my opinion. Tekken Tag Tournament 2 for the Wii U is really good as well. Man.
Are we going to add that one in? If we add that in, we're up to 98 games, and the listeners can only add 2 more from here on out.
Let's wait to add that one. Let's wait. Let's move.
Okay, we're at 97.
Okay, let's go to our let's go to other, which is the ending of our list, and then we can talk about which are the last few games we want to add. Harrison just showed up. What is up, Harrison? Thank you so much for showing up. Tessenoku versus Capcom Ultimate All-Stars was a very, very good fighting game, but it was not the versus game that we wanted. We can talk about that later. Let's go ahead and move on. This is the other So just in case you're just joining us, such as Harrison is, the way that this works is we're listing 100 of our most favorite games of all time on Nintendo platforms, and we are separating it by genre that they are in, and then we are talking about games we need to add to it based on things that we may not have thought of instantly. So let's go ahead and move it. Blind Hostility getting aggressive right now. I like that. I like it when you get aggressive. Let's do the other right now.
This category will finish out like me and Matt's list, and so then we'll have 3 more slots to add.
Yes.
To make it an even 100, I hope. I could have made an error in all of this craziness, but close enough. Anyway, in our other category, we have Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Elite Beat Agents, underrated, underappreciated. Anyway, moving on.
Stardew Valley. Ooh, takes my soul away.
Rhythm Heaven Fever. There it goes. Oh, and finally, Animal Crossing New Leaf.
Yes.
Some of the more
Lost in Blue.
Interesting genres.
I want to add Lost in Blue. Did you ever play Lost in Blue, Holly?
Lost in Blue.
We also need to add Hotel Dusk.
Hotel Dusk. That puts us to 99. Are you sure you want to do this?
Okay, chat.
So the listeners can only help us choose the last 100th game.
Okay, chat. Wait, Holly,
There's too many games.
Holly, we didn't.
Just too many good ones.
Holly, we should have been writing down the listener games. Because we could have posted this list of all the fantastic games.
Well, we have the chat. That's what I've been counting on. I'm afraid that while I'm typing on my keyboard, you're probably all hearing it very strongly.
We can hear you, and we're judging you right now.
So I'm trying to hold off on the typing.
Okay, guys, I'm going to go through and edit this through the chat that we have, because I would love to post this, because this is both a combined effort of me and Holly, who have talked about games for the entirety of this podcast, and then you guys who have been around to listen to the stuff that we've been talking about for a very, very long time, obviously. And I think that's pretty fantastic. So thank you guys for your guys' help tonight. But let's decide. Blind Hostility, Kyodai, Harrison, if you're still here. I would like to add Lost in Blue for the DS, and I'd like to add Hotel Dusk. Do you think that those 2 games are worthy to be on a list such as this, or should we remove them, and is there another game that you think we should be adding? What are your guys' thoughts? He wants to put in the original Elite Beat Agents instead of the Americanized version. He wants to put in the Japanese version of it instead. Kyodai just said. But that's basically, it doesn't matter, because that's just replacing one or the other, even if we were to do that. So we need 3 games. We need to add 3 games to this list that we don't have on it as of right now. Man, I almost want to. Do you remember Fill the Magic for on the release or the launch of the DS?
I've heard about it.
Oh, it's a mini game collection that was it was hilarious. It tried to turn into a thing.
And then the Red Rabbit.
Yeah, it tried to turn into a thing. It just never really took off. Kyodai is cool with adding Hotel Dusk.
Blind Hostility has never heard of any of those games.
Blind Hostility,
I've heard of them, but haven't played them.
Blind Hostility, you have to play Hotel Dusk. You will love Hotel Dusk. Go look up a gameplay trailer and stuff like that. It is. I personally believe that you would really enjoy it, even if you're not into like I don't like point and click adventure games, and it is a fantastic story, really cool use of the DS. It's just a really cool game. So what about Blind Hostility, Kyodai? What are some games you'd like to see us add to it? Let's go ahead and add Hotel Dusk. So that gives us 2 games. I mean, let's just ask Kyodai right here, right now. Kyodai, if you could add 1 game to this list that has not been added yet, what game would you want to be on a top 100 games list of all time? That we have not had, that we don't have as of yet. Same question to you, Blind Hostility. I play too many games.
And Harrison, if you're still here.
And Harrison, but he stopped commenting after I made fun of Capcom Ultimate Stars, so he left. I scared him away. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm still here for you, Harrison.
Brain Age. I believe that deserves a spot.
If we're gonna add a game like that, though, that kind of like I guess, defined like kind of a
generation.
different aspect other than the hardcore. Well, Wii Sports. I vote for Wii Sports if we're gonna kind of add a game like that. That's like a casual game that made a huge impact.
Wow, Wii Sports.
So I don't know, Kiara, what do you think?
Which one? Wow, which one is more important, Wii Sports or Brain Age? Without Brain Age, do we have? Hold on. Without Brain Age, do we have Wii Sports? Harrison says not scared. I was joking. I'm joking, Harrison. I'm more scared of you. I promise. I promise.
Oh, Kiara says Wii Sports. I changed his mind.
All right, I agree with Wii Sports as well.
All right, Wii Sports is game number 99.
99.
So
Blind Hostility. Are you being serious about Metroid Other M? I've played Metroid Other M. I don't know if it needs to be on a list of 100 games that people have to play.
He's like the sarcastic type, the Crash Bandicoot stuff.
Yeah, I can't tell. I can't tell if he's being serious or not.
Nobody likes that. Just kidding.
I do.
Blind Hostility says Brain Age.
Blind Hostility is my favorite. Such great conversations has been had over Crash Bandicoot and him.
Yeah.
Chaotai says, without Brain Age, we don't have Wii Sports. I agree. Wii Sports was important for showing the idea of the Wiimote and what it could do. I agree completely. I'm not disagreeing with that in any way. But without Brain Age being successful, without games like Brain Age, Nintendogs, without games like that, we don't have something like Wii Sports that takes off and becomes the worldwide success of Wii Sports and the Wii in a lot of ways.
What kind of a worldwide success was Brain Age? I don't think
it was. You don't remember the commercials? You don't remember how it took over the world?
I guess I don't.
Oh my gosh, Brain Age was the game that your grandma played. Brain Age. You know how people made fun of Wii Sports and they're like, your mom will get up and play Wii Sports and stuff like that. As a joke, yeah. I know that some moms are cool. I'm not trying to say your mom isn't, okay? Don't fight me, Holly. But Brain Age was like one of those very first games because of the Sudoku. People played it like... Brain Age is a top seller, a huge seller for the DS. You guys in the chat better back me up.
Well, this is... Whatever game we choose, it's going to be number 99...
to 100. So give us a good game, guys. We need one more game. We're not doing Brain Age because we kind of chose Wii Sports over Brain Age. We need one more game.
Everyone does seem to be voting on Brain Age now. All right, it's official. Brain Age over Wii Sports. Brain Age is game number 99. Wii Sports is out.
My mom still plays Brain Age. Wow, even Toyota is like, no, you're right. Brain Age. That's the correct answer. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking around. What about Castlevania
and we need
Judgment?
One more.
Castlevania Judgment, which is that Wii fighting game of Castlevania. I like how your eyes instantly go like, "What is Matt talking about?" We can see.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Now I know all the time before we had webcams how often you must have been judging me, is Matt? What is he talking about? Why is he still talking? My goodness. Box Boy?
I don't even think I'm quite as animated as I used to be. It's like when actors talk about being a voice on a cartoon show as opposed to doing a live action movie. They're all like, oh, I can make all these crazy facial expressions and it doesn't matter. Well, it's kind of the same with me. I'm not making near the same range as I used to.
I doubt it. I think that we're seeing moments when you forget the camera's there. We see your face and you're just like... Just kidding. Harrison said Box Boy.
Good instinct, Harrison. We haven't added that. I mean, he missed 90% of the list. Yeah, so for him to...
Yeah, that's pretty well done. What do you think?
Yeah.
Is Box Boy a good enough game to be added onto this list? It does make me want to rethink some of the games that we have on it. I'll be completely honest. Obviously, we're not taking this super serious. It's for fun. It is absolutely for fun. And this is not a definitive list, as we already stated before. These are just 100 really good games that we really like, obviously. And I agree that something like Box Boy, I liked Box Boy. I never played Box Boy or Box Box.
I did not like Box Boy.
Box Boy. I never played that one.
What was the third one really called?
Box Boy.
No.
It was called...
Somebody in the chat.
It was called Box...
Give me a serious answer.
It was called Box Boy, More Boxes. It was called...
That one actually wouldn't surprise me, but I know that wasn't it.
It was called Super Box Odyssey. It was called...
Man, if nobody comes up with something else compelling, we're just going to have to add...
It was called
Metroid Prime Federation Force.
It was called... Wow, you're...
Just kidding. Box Boy.
What did I tell you?
Would definitely win over that.
She's so cynical. I love it. Oh, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles.
Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles
There
from
it is.
Kyodai.
There it is. Oh, have you played that, Holly? Did you play Final?
I have not, but I'm really, really excited. Like now that all these Final Fantasy games are coming to the Switch, I'm like, I'm turning into a Final Fantasy fan.
I know.
I'm gonna go back. Like I've owned Final Fantasy games, like a lot of them for many years, and I haven't played any of them seriously. I think we've talked about that before.
We have.
So.
We've definitely talked about it.
I am a new fan.
We have
Another unserious.
We have Brawl technically on
Suggest-
here. We have Brawl / Melee / Wii U / DS or 3DS and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's a game that we need to have on there. You know what, Holly? I think we've gotten enough answers to just say that Box Boy or Super Mario or Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles would technically take the spot of the 99th game. So I think we're good. I really do think we're good. Phantasy Star is another great one. I'm gonna go through, edit this list a little bit, make sure that we add on the stuff that we agreed from you guys in the chat. Appreciate you guys so very much. Like I said, if you guys like the show, please go down below and do a one-up punch to that like button to make sure that we can see that, and then also share the podcast with friends, family, loved ones. If you are like the boss of somebody and you have like an employee under you, you could like make it a requirement that they have to listen to this podcast. I'm not sure how that falls under like ethics, but you could give it a try. So yes. Anyways, I think that's about it. Honestly, like even now, Trauma Center is a great one that we don't have anything like Trauma Center in this collection of games, and that could honestly take the place of something that we have in here. Like, no lie, like if we, and maybe that's something we planned for a feature in the future. We'll go hardcore on the list of 100 games, and we'll really try to make it the absolute best that we can, because that would be fun. Maybe.
Now that sounds overwhelming. I'm afraid.
Does, but we have a really good starting
it sounds
point
exhausting.
right here. We have a really good.
We do.
Yeah. So I think
we did it. I'm gonna officially declare that we did it.
Okay.
We proved everybody wrong who didn't think we could list 100 great games in an episode and have a flowing good podcast episode about it. We did it. I think we did it with grace and
with wonder,
poise,
with greatness.
What's that song in Miss Congeniality? She's graceful and she's.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's.
Let's spend the rest of the podcast just looking up the lyrics for the Miss Congeniality ending song. I love this idea. I need to
watch that movie, everybody, if you haven't. Oh my gosh, it's a classic. Classic.
Oh my goodness, that's absolutely wonderful. Holly, where can people find you on the internet?
I like the Twitter. So you can find me on Twitter at Lil Red Koopa, LIL Red Koopa.
Little Red Koopa.
Yep, and Twitter is kind of my favorite place. One of these days, I swear I'm going to add my Switch friend code to my little Twitter bio. So just keep your eyes open for that so that you can send me a friend request on Switch as well.
We need to play more games on Switch, especially now that since the Nintendo app is supposed to have better talking functionality and stuff like that. We'll plan something, especially for the next Splatfest or something like that. So Blind Hostility, real quick, not trying to take up any more time of the show, but he says you both need to try Cloudberry Kingdom. Cloudberry Kingdom was my very first written review for a game that I was sent a review code for. It is still on my IGN blog reviewing thing that I had going for a little while. It is the very first game that I ever reviewed that somebody sent me a code to review, and it holds a very special place in my heart. It's a very fun game.
Yeah. I could tell you about mine too, but that's a story for another day.
We need to have like an old school memory day or something like that, where we talk about even the stuff that we did, because we both were active writers and stuff before we started Nintendo Fever, the podcast, obviously. Yes. So that would be a fun time to talk about. We already had Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Sorry. Where can you find me on the internet? Well, you can find me on Twitter as well, at @OnlyMattDezen. It is my favorite place to frequent as well. You can also find the Nintendo Fever Twitter account being active and used on a more regular basis, and I guarantee if you start following it, you will have a good time seeing all the chatter and disbelief stuff that is being done on
We're gonna get a Discord server set up. I want to follow up on that. We haven't done that yet. I wanted to get that done by this week, but we're setting up a Nintendo Fever Discord. It's going to be up by next episode. I make that promise right now. I will shirk my homework if I have to.
Shirk?
To make it happen.
Shirk? Is that where you just chuck it out?
I know. Don't you love my beautiful English major words?
Shirking it out of here. Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Please share the podcast with friends, family, and anyone else that will listen. Make sure you drop a like on that button below. When you sub, also hit the bell icon so you know the moment that we go live. This is a weekly podcast happening on Friday nights, 8 p.m. We're going to start doing game nights. We're going to start doing a lot more features and fun things happening as well. I'm excited to be back, Holly. I know you are too. Holly, believe it or not, this is the first time we've had a show back-to-back weeks in like over a year.
Yes, this is true. Yeah. I'm aware.
This is fantastic. We're going to be starting with episode 101 next week. Thank you guys so much for listening, watching, and enjoying the show, I hope. Until next time, guys, we'll catch you later, and bye-bye.
Don't get cooked. Stay off the hook.